Okay, I am doing a review of my team associated RC18B2. This is the brushless version with the Reedy 5000 kilovolt. I decided to do this review because really right now you can't find any info on this thing, good or bad, anything. So usually what you look up is the original brushed version or the kit, which had a lot of issues. However, I bought this kit before realizing all the issues it had, and did a lot of research. It seems that they fixed most everything with this kit. So let me start with the bad. First off, it is a pain in the butt trying to get the body on here with these wires. The brushed engine is sticks out a little bit too much. These wires interfere with the body, so you got to bend them quite a bit and then mash them down in order to get the body fit on there properly. Also, these front flanges are a pain in the butt to get down under the tie rods. As you can see, I'm trying to just do like a quick little shot here. But you can see right there where the wires are pushing against the body. I know this isn't the best, but once you have the body on in full, you will notice it a little bit more, especially compared to the other side. And you know, you got to fight these things and try to get them down under and then pop them back out. I've honestly been thinking about cutting them off, but it's not too bad. I mean, you get used to it after a little bit. The only other thing is that the pins are a pain in the butt to get back on with the body because they leave almost no clearance for you to slip them in. The back isn't too bad, you just push it down and slip it in. The front, you got to push it down pretty hard, right about there. Slip it in, get the pin in, and then you'll probably inevitably end up tearing that front sticker, which you mostly cover when you get the pin in anyway, but it's still a pain in the butt trying to get it in. It's one thing I don't like because the on and off switch is within the body. So other than that, I mean, it's a solid little car. It's pretty fast. I don't have any run videos yet. I'll try to get one. So, the positives. Well, I know a lot of people, well, maybe not a lot of people, but some people said that they had trouble with slopping their steering. This, I do not. It is pretty solid. Also, you get a Dean's Ultra plug and a battery charger connection for that plug. And this plug will work with a Lowe's charger as well, and I do have a Peak battery charger that'll work with this battery, and it actually does a pretty good job. The original charger says in the quick guide 10 hours, and I really don't want to wait and sit 10 hours for this thing to charge. The quick charger charges this thing in about an hour, so huge difference. It's a really solid buggy. They did a good job of managing to keep it designed to where it'll protect the body and everything therein. Because I did ramp this earlier off a small little ledge and hit the edge of concrete. The only thing it hit was that bumper. Just put a couple little scuffs and nothing else was touched. You can even see where I've ramped it a couple times, but there's no marks on the underbody. Just a little bit in that bumper as well. So it's very solid. The suspension's really solid. It does a good job. The front is a little bit softer than the rear. And if I were to drop this onto a hard surface from about a foot, which I have done before, it doesn't bounce or anything. It just plants and goes. So very solid suspension on it. Now the belt drive, I know a lot of people had issues with it. A lot of people. But from what research that I managed to find, they did release an updated cover for the front differential, which is supposed to be indicated by this dimple, this little guy right here, and this recess right here, which is supposed to move the front differential back a little bit to relieve tension on that front belt. I think it did a pretty good job because I don't get any real resistance. Nothing out of the ordinary. So I wasn't pushing it all too hard, and you can see it goes pretty quick. Now, a couple of other things I don't like. This receiver is in here loose. I'm not sure why it is. It also has a really long antenna cable for it. I can show you right here. And for 2.4 gigahertz, you wouldn't think that that would be necessary. Now, the pictures themselves show it being pretty short, but I kind of wonder if they maybe had range issues in the factory. Either way, it works fairly well. I've been thinking about changing it to a Spectrum, though, because I do run a Spectrum transmitter that is a little bit better than the factory one with this. And the only other thing I don't like, the speed control doesn't seem to be perfect. Turn my transmitter here. And I get a little bit of cutting at light throttle, and I'll show you here. So you can hear that chatter, and that's not normal. When I gun it, it does fine. And it has delay in reverse, which seems any of my RCs do. But I don't like that cutting. It does it a lot in reverse as well. As you can kind of hear it chattering a little bit there as I reverse it. Not really good. I mean, it runs okay as long as you have it like medium throttle, full throttle. But low throttle, it's an issue. I also tried resetting it thinking that might have been it. Couldn't get the speed control to reset. So I'm going to have to look more into that. The only other thing is that the spur gear runs dry on the pinion gear, and the pinion gear is metal. So I took this cover off, and I put a little bit of petroleum jelly on it, just enough, because you don't want it flinging all over the belts. And to help lube it up a little bit, help extend its life. But if you do this, you have to be extremely careful with the screws that hold that cover on, because they are tiny. They will fall. So be careful if you decide to do that. The only other thing, negative, is that they made a lot of stuff, I think, out of steel, but it rusts fairly easily. You can see in this wheel here, it has some grime, and that came from the metal drive, and that makes the wheels a lot harder to get off. So, but if you get it new, you take out the wheels and everything, put a little bit of petroleum jelly on them. That should help keep it from rusting and make it a lot easier to get the wheels back off. The transmitter, it's an alright transmitter. It's not perfect, but it has, full adjustable. It's 3-channel. The one thing that I noticed about it is this. There's a little bit of a thing sticking up there. I'm not sure what that's for, but it catches. And then the other side doesn't do it, but this side, it sticks. But not really a big deal. It's still easy to control. So I would much rather be running my Spectrum, for one, just to save space, but I think it's a better transmitter anyway. The only other thing is that the tie rods, turnbuckles, caster links, whatever you want to call them, are plastic, and they're non-adjustable. So you're kind of just set with the stock settings unless you decide to upgrade to metal. But I don't want to do that unless something breaks. And it's the same thing with these dog bones. These dog bones are plastic. They're a little bit flimsy, but I guess that would help and absorb impact as well, so they don't break quite as easily. And it does all right. I mean, I've been bashing it. I haven't been able to race it or anything because the closest track is about a half hour away. But I'd say it's, for what it is, it's a solid buggy. I mean, you're going to be paying a little bit to get it, but the 4-wheel drive does pretty well in light grass. You can tell I've had it in grass. It goes through pretty good unless you get a thick pile of it. I mean, the issues that it had before are pretty much eliminated. The brushless engine, well, motor, I should say. It's strong. I mean, it's got plenty of torque. It's made my slipper slip just doing accelerations. So, I mean, I need to tighten it a little bit, but other than that, it's a pretty solid buggy. Oh, and I don't think I did go touch base on the slipper. It comes out pretty tight, but they tell you to loosen it to about a millimeter and a half of thread left. I did that, and it was slipping like crazy whenever I had full accelerate it. So I tightened it back up a little bit, and it slips a little bit, but it's not too bad. So that's another thing just to kind of watch out for. And sorry for the clarity of the video. I know it's a little bit bad, but you're doing this with a cell phone. So other than that, I mean, it's a good buggy. They fixed their issues, and I do have fun with it. I mean, if you're looking for something that's really quick and something you can just beat around a little bit, it's a good buggy to do it with. But I would suggest it more for racing rather than a basher, because there's plenty of other buggies that you could do that with. So that's about it.